The Amurs came into my life not until the year 2012. The massacre of lakhs of some migratory birds called the Amur Falcons in the distant land of Nagaland in northeast India caught my attention too, as a member of the public who did have a fascination for all the things connected with nature. Also, as a part of the general reading for the UPSC, I too had read that some scientists have satellite tagged three Amur falcons and named them Naga, Woka, and Pankti, and that they could trace a long distance migration. This was back during the year 2013, and this was my first introduction to the Amurs. But the Amur falcons have always been migrating since my parents' time, since my grandparents' time, since a very long time. Like each of the world's bird species has adapted to the seasonal cycles of nature by making long, precisely timed annual movements. How and when did the first bunch of birds migrate? We do not have answers. They have done this for the thousands of years. We can only theorize that avian migration evolved maybe by a gradual extension of smaller annual movements as birds search for improved food or breeding opportunities. It is a part of their evolution. A key force may have been the Earth's many cycles of environmental change, the many cycles of Pleistocene glaciation. Maybe with every cycle of Pleistocene glaciation, migrants retreated to more southern breeding localities and made shorter migration while the ice ruled the north. Then, when the ice receded, the migrants moved north to take advantage of renewed breeding opportunities in the unoccupied habitat that emerged. The Amurs have always done it in our human historic times. A tragedy happening suddenly brought them into our conservation talks and tables. Years again passed on, and I got into the Indian Forest Service. Then, in the year 2018, as a part of my postgraduate diploma in Advanced Wildlife Management at the Wildlife Institute of India, I met our faculty there who was always talking about the Amurs with such a passion. This turned out to be the some scientist, Dr. Suresh Kumar sir. Again, as an officer going to the Meghalaya sector of the Assam Meghalaya cadre, which happens to be the stopping site of the Amurs in their southbound annual migration, Suresh sir used to introduce to me more and more about these magnificent birds. March 2018, South Africa, about 100 kilometers from Cape Town. I had my first tryst with the Amur Falcons, live or dead as people say it. It was sad that I had my first sighting of these magnificent birds lifeless, dead in South Africa. By this time, I had already fallen in love with these magnificent creatures. The lifeless form gave me the pain. This pain also gave me the determination to do something for their conservation. We will now trace the magical migratory journeys of the Amur Falcons through our homelands. Migration of birds is one of the greatest natural wonders that have fascinated humans since time immemorial. They fly across hundreds and thousands of kilometers to find just the best ecological spots for feeding, breeding, and raising their young. A huge variety of birds make the journey annually across miles, crossing our cultures and geographies. Almost 18% of the world's around 10,000 bird species are long-distance migrants, and in fact, roughly 1 in 5 bird species migrate in some way or the other. Following the journey of migration is just fascinating. Birds that nest in the northern hemisphere tend to migrate northward in the spring to take advantage of the nesting locations where there is abundance of food. As winter approaches and the availability of food drops, the birds fly south again. Thus, the primary motive for the migration appears to be food. But how do they do this? The timing of migration seems to be controlled primarily by changes in day length. The secrets to their amazing navigational skills aren't yet fully understood. It is believed that they navigate using celestial cues from the sun and the stars, the earth's magnetic field, and the mental maps, or the combination of all. Birds are said to migrate in certain migratory pathways or the flyways. Definition-wise, a flyway is a flight path used by a large number of birds while migrating between their breeding grounds and their overwintering quarters. They generally span over continents and often pass over oceans. The birds don't choose their paths at random. They follow set routes that include suitable habitats where they can stop to rest and refuel along the way and which are conducive ecologically too. Migratory flyway is again a human construct for our own understanding. The BirdLife International gives broadly 8 numbers of flyways which are drawn across the globe. 3 in America's flyway, 3 in African Eurasian flyway, then the Central Asian flyway and East Asian Australasian flyway. India runs right in the Central Asian flyway and a fraction of the East Asian Australasian flyway. Certain species have preferred pathways for their annual migration routes, which are often connected to important stopover locations that provide food supplies critical to their survival and journey. The Northeast India is such a preferred stopover region for the Amur Falcons, which are stopping over at the various sites across the Northeast during the post-monsoon autumn season. Coming back to the central character of our discussion, the Amur Falcons. The Amur Falcon is a small raptor from the falcon family, getting the name from their homeland region, the Amur River, that forms the border between far east of Russia and northeast of China. They breed in the Eastern Asian region like southeastern Russian area of Siberia, northern Mongolia, up to North Korea and to northern part of China, and they migrate to southern Africa, which are their wintering grounds. On their southbound migration, they stop over in northeast India, including the states of Nagaland, Manipur, Meghalaya, Arunachal, etc., from where we get their information. They are seen to stop over at the Umru village in Riboi district, which is right on the Assam-Meghalaya borders. In Meghalaya, they are also seen at various sites in the Jaintia Hills and the Garo Hills, the details of which are continued to be studied. As the world celebrates the World Migratory Day by October 10 this year, we are starting to get the news of the Amurs reaching in various parts of Northeast, including Nagaland, Manipur and Arunachal. We too are anxiously waiting for the return, and soon we get the news of the arrival along the Assam-Meghalaya border areas from the villagers there. 17th October 2020. We could not wait to meet them sooner, and we start off from Shillong to Umru village. It takes around 2 hours to reach the Umru village. A short trek thereafter takes us right to their roosting sites. Our team sits and waits for the Amurs in an open football ground. They haven't yet returned from their day's foraging. By around 3:30 p.m., our forester sights the first birds up in the air, having a better eyesight than myself. Slowly, they started arriving in large numbers, swarming the sky above, flying round and round in circles. The lights also started to fade as, in this part of country, by 4:30 p.m. past, it's already dark. Though I could not get a very good picture of Amurs in the fading light, I was happy beyond words. We again plan our visits to the roosting sites by October last week to November first week when they are seen in peak numbers. 2nd and 3rd November 2020. This time we plan our overnight stay in the village with the villagers themselves. The headman of the Umru village was kind enough to host our team. He gave us a place to stay in his own house, and the night dinner we all cooked together under the full moon sky. We had our dinner together with the family and the village elders, and the post-dinner discussions extended way into the night, and the topics ran from how to conserve these birds, how to promote the village-based tourism, and it spilled over to the daily life, cultural aspects and all. It was a typical Kasi village setting. I did not feel that I was a stranger in this land. 4:30 a.m. 3rd November 2020. We were all ready for our field visits. The dawn was just started to break, but the Amurs were already awake and we could hear their chirping. The morning here was misty, and we slowly started to get the images of the Amurs, and as the sunlight started to melt away the mist, we again started to get such a magnificent views. At the roosting sites, some were seen grooming, some were seen dozing or meditating, and some were flying in circles, maybe feeding. There were lots of birds roosting over the entire area. The Amur Falcons are known to feed mainly late in the evening or early in the morning, capturing a wide range of insects in the air or on the ground. They capture most of their prey in flight. Their diet almost entirely seems to be made of insects. Their migration over the Arabian Sea is said to coincide with the timing of the migration of the dragonflies, and these are thought to provide food during the most arduous part of their migration route. As we watched them over, they were seen leaving for foraging in batches, and by around 8:30 to 9 a.m., most of the birds had already left their roosting perches. We got back to our house and had a quick breakfast, and then we were back for an awareness program, rather more precisely a roundtable discussion with the villagers in our same football ground where we initially sat waiting for the Amurs. We also had discussions with our counterparts in the Assam Forest Department as the birds again reminded us that borders does not apply. A bit more about these amazing birds. The Amur Falcons arrive and leave in batches. They are seen to congregate in peaks by the end of October and start of November, and the last batch start leaving towards late November. By April-May, they are back to their breeding grounds from where it all started. By this time, the winter is over and the spring is already on, and the summers are fast approaching. Summers are the season of abundance, when the young ones are born and there is enough food. But soon, with the autumn giving way to winter, they again migrate to continue the amazing cyclic journeys of theirs. Migrating birds cover thousands of miles in their annual travels, often traveling the same course year after year with little deviation. First-year birds often make their first migration on their own. Somehow, they can find their winter homes despite never having seen it before and return the following spring to where they were born, which is just amazing. During migration, they roost colonially on exposed perches or vines in open forests or grasslands. Bamboo thickets and tree vegetation are their favorite roosting location. Their breeding habitat, though, is open wooded country with marshes. The breeding season is from May to June. The routes taken on forward and return migration are often different. They don't stop over in northeastern India on their way back. The Amur Falcons are seen to show high site fidelity, visiting the same wintering sites year after year. The Amur Falcons use the East Asian, Australasian and African Eurasian flyways for their migratory journeys. We will now come back to their mass massacre in Nagaland and subsequently the start of the conservation story. Many raptors are at risk during migration because they gather to form major concentrations and move in large groups along their flyways and stopover points. This flocking behavior during migration and the density at which they occur expose them to hunting and other threats. Amur Falcons were also killed in huge numbers across northeastern states of India. In 2012, mass trapping and capture of migrating Amur Falcons in Nagaland was widely reported in the media and it captured everyone's attention. From then on, the tide began to change for good. A conservation project for Amur Falcons was initiated in November 2013 in Nagaland with an aim to create awareness among the local people about the migratory Amur Falcons and to stop hunting them. Today, this project has turned out to be one of the biggest conservation success stories not only in India but also in the world. This project was initiated by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Government of India, along with Wildlife Institute of India and Nagaland State Forest Department in response to the large-scale killing in parts of Nagaland during 2012. As a part of the 2013 initiative, 3 Amur Falcons were satellite tracked under the leadership of Dr. Suresh Kumar for the first time from India to document their migration. The information received from this scientific satellite tracking was amazing. We started understanding their incredible journeys and the part we play in this journey as they stopped over. We came to understand that they travel from Eastern Asia, which are their breeding grounds, to all the way to Southern Africa, which are their wintering grounds. They make stopover in northeast India for a brief period of about 2 weeks to 1 month before proceeding non-stop, crossing the Arabian Sea and reaching Africa. It is incredible to imagine such a small bird weighing less than 200 grams making such a journey of about 22,000 kilometers in the migratory story. As the interest and understanding in the Amur Falcon started increasing, the need for the conservation was felt. This year, the birds Chiulan and Irang, which were tagged during November 2019 in Manipur, had returned to the region, sending great cheer and excitement across the population and at the same time setting another milestone in the conservation efforts. In Meghalaya as well, various stakeholders have come together for conserving our migratory visitors. In the Tirsa Valley area in Riboy district of Khasi Hills, where Amur Falcons stop over every year, the community people have come together to form the Tirsa Valley Wildlife Protection Society in 2015 with the main aim of conservation of the migratory Amur Falcons and other wildlife. The Khasi Hills Wildlife Division, in coordination with the local conservation representatives, conducted a series of awareness programs in and around these villages to stop the indiscriminate killing of Amur Falcons and take part in protection activities every year as Amur Falcons roost. From these continuous conservation efforts, the level of awareness has increased and the incidences of Amur Falcons being killed have become practically non-existent. This does not mean that they are all safe yet. The distances, the routes and the landscapes involved in their migratory path mean that they often cross political boundaries of countries and conservation measures require international cooperation and collaborations. Killing, poaching and habitat degradation at their breeding, wintering or stopover sites can be detrimental to these birds that have a lifespan of about 6 years. The loss of any of these ecosystems used by the birds during their annual cycle could have a dramatic impact on the bird's chances of survival and sustaining the species over time. It is important to have international cooperation among stakeholders, including governments, local communities, along the entire flyway of the species to share knowledge, information, and coordinate conservation efforts in a collaborative manner. In 2020, the theme of the World Migratory Bird Day has been Birds Connect Our World, and how true this is. Our Amurs have itself brought together the various stakeholders as they roost in the Assam Meghalaya borders. They keep reminding us that, except for us humans, there are no political and cultural borders. They are not just our beautiful winged visitors, but they do have a crucial ecological role, as they are part of a critical role such as seed dispersal, pollination, pest control, and more in the biodiversity richness we treasure. Migratory birds such as Amur Falcons continue to inspire us by their incredible journeys and connect us all together, and at the same time reconnect us with nature. They bring us the tidings from far off lands as seasons change, and we send them off hoping to see them in the cycle of seasons and time soon again. Wishing you all Amurs a safe passage through the Indian subcontinent and beyond to your wintering grounds in southern Africa, and thereon back to your homelands in Siberia, until you are back to visit us again the next autumn. Till then, bye, stay safe, and enjoy the incredible journey.